I just saw an interview with Russell Brand and Jeremy Paxman. Brand's espousing an institution of ideas that have detrimental effects he refuses to recognize. People like Russell Brand try to use big shiny words to sound sharp, but he's a danger to himself and others with those sharp, big shiny words, like a man baby running around with big shiny scissors.
I think what's happening. Propaganda.
Russell Brand reminds me of a dude who really should have won that ticket to see Willy Wonka. He's like Veruca Salt with a beard. He's a self-focused, spoiled, rotten millionaire with Peter Pan glasses on. The dude admits to you that his main interest is himself. As he says, when people talk about politics within the existing Westminster framework, I feel a dull thud in my stomach and my eyes involuntarily glaze, like when I'm conversing and the subject changes from me to something else. The dude is admitting to you that he isn't interested in anything else but himself, but you're gonna write off what he says as him just being a comedian and give him a pass. He contradicts himself by downplaying his political interest while wanting to promote his political influence through a political magazine. This dude is totally blind as to what he is, and his fans are blinded by his blindness. Russell Brand says he doesn't vote. Hey, if there's any example for viewers who like Russell Brand to follow, it should be that one. Yeah, please don't vote. Russell Brand talks about people power. Russell, you know who has the most power and who are screwing things up with that power? People who talk like you. And Russell, you come from a nanny state as it is, and you're never satisfied. And people like you are the reasons why the boobs of the nanny state are shriveled up like jerky as it is. People like you talk about how much they care about the planet and humanity while having no clue what that means. See, people get suckered into voting for politicians who talk about how much they care and how much they're gonna make everybody pay their fair share, just like you talk about, Russell. But the problem is that you can't do that without ripping off someone else. That's the thing you left-wing loonies don't get, and you're making it worse. Russell says we need a revolution, yet has no idea of a resolution to his revolution. Oh, and Russell, maybe you missed it, but we did have a revolution. It resulted in the greatest state of freedom the world has ever known. But because of people who think like you, who believe there should be this big central entity that dictates to what a person should do with their wealth, or a body that takes liberties with another person's liberty, well, we're going back to those same dynamics that lead up to that revolution, Russell. People like you give power to oppressive governments that assume they have a responsibility to take from the people for the so-called well-being of the people. That's the democracy you say doesn't work, yet it's the so-called democracy you're too blind to see that you keep demanding. It doesn't work because the governments never know when to stop. And the people like you never know when to stop demanding that the government takes more. In other words, Russell, you found a new focus for your addiction. And dude, you were doing drugs up until you were 28 years old. Don't blame your drug use on you being a kid. And don't try to blame your drug use on society. The one to blame for your drug use is you. And as a former drug user who's been around a lot of drug users, I can say from experience that drug users always think everything else is someone else's fault. And so-called self-redeeming justice seekers like you only show some BS act of responsibility by going out there and trying to force someone else to be responsible. I'm Russell Brand, the responsible man, and my mission in life is to make myself look responsible by accusing others of being irresponsible and making others take responsibility for someone else who could be taking responsibility for themselves. Russell Brand is a conceited, self-righteous, glory-starved egotist who wants to come across as a better person by how he cares so much more than others. He doesn't care about others. He cares about how he's perceived perceived by others. And how he wants to be perceived by others is that he's a better man than others. People fall for these self-righteous actors who treat profit like it's a dirty word, while people like Russell Brand are multi-millionaires. None of these actors demand that they get paid minimum wage in their contracts. But these people are going to keep getting away with what they get away with and make profit, capitalism, and the free market out to be evil, because those who actually support these things do a horrible job at promoting them. And part of that is because even those who support things like capitalism don't really understand what it is, or have an overly complicated idea of what it is. And it's factors like that that interfere with them being able to effectively promote the concept. Y'all, please get a copy of my audiobook, Weapon of Vast Destruction, and check out the chapter, The Case for Capitalism. You've listened to the eggheads try to give you a definition of it, and if they were so effective at explaining it, we wouldn't be losing capitalism here. This is how bad it is. Not only do liberals hate capitalism based on prejudice, not really on the understanding of what it is, liberals really hate crony capitalism, which is where I agree with them. Crony capitalism is bad. But liberals are so effective with promoting their ideas and conservatives so ineffective that liberals have been able to force on the American people what everybody hates, including themselves. And Obamacare is a gleaming example of crony capitalism. I'm Alfonso Rachel with ZoNation, and Russell Brand is calling for a revolution. He wants to see the rich get eaten, but he has to make sure he's not seen as the rich first. And he does this by cursing profit and the wealthy. Basically, he's trying to camouflage himself with the Oculus zombies by smearing dead guts all over himself, so they won't eat that crazy straw he has for a brain. The boobs of the nanny state